Oklahoma outlasted Georgia to keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive. Now they get Kentucky. Whenever Kentucky would probably cement Oklahoma's spot in the NCAA tournament. Dion, these two teams met 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. Kentucky won by one in Norman, 83-82, thanks to the Otega Oweh floater slash layup slash just throw something up in the lane. A couple seconds left, and then the Brandon Garrison's block on the other end. So a highly contested game. Do you think this one's going to be pretty close as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, no Jackson Robinson, obviously. I think that at the end of the day, what's interesting about Kentucky is the defensive factor, where it's like, are they going to be able to stop anybody? They have these moments where they look like one of the best teams in the country, and they have these moments where they look like an awful defensive team. I think Oklahoma is a bad team to go against if you're the latter of that. We know what you're going to get from Jeremiah Fears, regardless. He was special against Georgia, and I think he'll be special against Kentucky as well. Um, will Kentucky's defense allow some of the others from Oklahoma to get involved in this game? And if you do, they do. Oklahoma's so dangerous, so dangerous.
Yeah.
Uh, the flip side, though, I mean, Kentucky has about seven dudes that can hit you for 10 points, it feels like, too. So it's not like Kentucky's going to struggle to score.
Yeah. Fears in that first matchup had 18 points, 6 assists, and 7 boards. And he was phenomenal against Georgia in the first round, 29 points, 6 boards. But also important in that game is he had two other guys in double figures, and Kobe Ellis
Mm-hmm.
had 9. So you had three guys also contributing offensively. That has not been the case with Oklahoma often this year.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky's defense can allow that to happen with how they play, but Kentucky's also rounding into some form offensively and just overall. Andrew Carr is getting healthy. Mari Williams has stepped up. Tig Oweh has become an all-conference caliber kind of player. Lamont Butler is as healthy as he gets or will be gets this season. So I think there's a chance Kentucky is like could rip off a run here too, right? And it starts with Oklahoma, but it's part of the reason why the SEC tournament is the best conference tournament in the country this year. Like this is a high profile elite game in the second round. That's not even the quarterfinals yet.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree. That's what makes this tournament fun. Like genuinely, like this is what makes this tournament fun. I think it's a situation where it's rough spot for Kentucky because they will allow someone from Oklahoma to go off. And I'm a firm believer in this. I do tend to lean towards the teams that played the night before and played well the night before. I
Mhm.
think there's going to be a bit of a carryover factor for Oklahoma. If you mix that in with maybe a slow start from Kentucky, getting used to like playing in a new arena. I don't know how many shoot arounds these teams get inside of the arena before the tournament starts, if any. Like it might be some of their first shots are on these hoops or during the game. Um, if you factor all that in, I think this is a rough draw for Kentucky. With that in mind, like I don't know, man. I I don't understand like why anyone's concerned about Kentucky. Like regardless of what happens,
Yeah.
the rest of this season, I've said this a million times, and I will continue to say it. In my opinion, the coach conversation starts with Mark Pope moving forward. What he was able to do this year, the recruiting class that he is bringing in that might not be done yet. Shout out Nate Ament. It might not be done yet. It might not be done yet. And what I believe he will do in the portal, based upon what we saw him do in the portal on short notice, at that, it starts with Mark Pope. If you want to say it starts with Nate Oates or Dan Hurley, I respect that. But those three, it starts with them. Maybe Shire at the end of this year, but like he's in that conversation. He's absolutely in that conversation. And in the long run, I've said it a million times. Who wouldn't want to play for Mark Pope? You
Right.
like who wouldn't want to play for Mark Pope? So I mean, I'm very impressed with this Kentucky team, regardless of the result against Oklahoma, regardless of the result in the tournament. But I will say this: it's going to be a long off season if BYU goes farther than Kentucky. It's going to be a long off season.
BYU or Arkansas.
I think you could, as crazy as it sounds, I think you can live with the Arkansas stuff at this
No,
point.
no, no. Who has been on here for a year yelling about how the fact it's fine that Kentucky lost Calipari, I will not be okay.
It's
So I
it's a
know
rough
Kentucky fans
spot.
will not be okay.
If BYU gets better, if BYU gets better without Mark Pope, that's a rough sell.
Well, BYU also got a sudden infusion of cash.
Okay. But their best,
I,
the guy Mark Pope wanted is on his roster though.
you were confident in Kentucky. Ken Palm is confident in Kentucky in this game as well. He's got them winning 85 to 80 in this game over the Sooners. Do you think Kentucky wins by more than that? Should we be looking at Oklahoma? Who do you think wins?
Oklahoma and the under. The under specifically though. The under
Okay.
specifically. I think Kentucky is going to struggle to shoot the ball first time in an arena. Didn't get to play yesterday. I think they start slow. I think Kentucky wins the game by about a possession, but I think they're going to have to muck it up and win differently. I think they're going to have to play defense. I don't think this is going to be an 85 to 80 game.
I think Kentucky wins. I would love the idea of Jeremiah Fears going on some Kemba Walker type run because I think he can, but I think Kentucky is too good. Can I tell you about the first time Kentucky played in like a arena this year?
When was it?
They beat Duke. State Farm Arena, shot 40% from three.
Okay, so
Can I
here's
tell
my
you about the next
only.
time they played in an arena?
Uh,
It's against Gonzaga. They won that game. They only shot 28% from three, but they beat Gonzaga shooting 20% from three.
so my only caveat on the Duke game, just before everyone rips me in the comment section for the arena thing, my only caveat on the Duke thing is they were able to practice in it beforehand. My only question with them being the last game of the day, not getting to play today, how much warm up inside of the actual arena are they going to get? If it's just that 10 to 15 minutes they throw on the scoreboard, that ain't that much time.
I'm not as worried about it. This is I have gone down a rabbit hole now. But because of how big Rupp is. Like
That's fair.
Rupp's a 20,000 person arena, 20,500 is the attendance.
That's fair.
Um, I'm not as concerned about it. It is something you got to get used to it, but I'm not as concerned about it.
That's fair.
I just think they're a better team, quite
I do.
frankly. And Oklahoma has not been able to put together consistent back-to-back showings with the rotation players they need to contribute to beat a team like Kentucky. So I'm going to go with Kentucky. But we'll see. It should be. I'm looking forward to this game. It should be a really fun game. Perhaps the game of Thursday. There's a lot of good games this SEC tournament, man. Good thing
A
we're
lot of
following along with you for all of them. Here, listeners, been a YouTube channel. Dion and I have previews and recaps for every single game in the SEC tournament. So make sure you like and subscribe and check those out.